Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another video. It is the game preview ahead of Everton's FA Cup 5th round fixture at Goodison Park against Tottenham Hotspur. A very, very difficult game for Carlo Ancelotti's Everton side, who of course come into it off the back of a fantastic roller coaster ride at Old Trafford, which seen Everton leave Old Trafford with a point. Absolute elation in the last seconds of the game as Dominic Calvert-Lewin steers it past David De Gea for Carlo Ancelotti's tricky toffees to take a point. Of course, coming into it against the Tottenham side, who have been very sort of up and down this season, but have brought in a manager who is notorious for his cup success. And I think, the general feeling around Tottenham Hotspur was when Jose Mourinho come into the club, he was coming in for the success of trophies and bringing in trophies and maybe that short-term sort of, achievement rather than a long-term project. We'll go into talking about them in a little bit later on in the video. Everton, of course, like I said, coming into it off the back of a fantastic point at Old Trafford in a game that we all thought we were going to lose, last-minute elation, like I mentioned. And coming into the FA Cup fixture off the back of a fantastic FA Cup 4th round victory against Sheffield Wednesday last time out. The type of performance that you wanted to see from Everton, turning up and putting our foot down and stamping our authority a little bit. We respected Sheffield Wednesday, but we also turned up and pretty much said, look, we are the better team here. We're the Premier League team. James Rodriguez was in full flow. He was creating left, right and centre. Richarlison was back on the score sheet. Dominic Calvert-Lewin got a goal, and it was very refreshing to see such a performance, of course, after the last FA Cup fixture in which we were taken into extra time at Goodison Park, and it wasn't a very good game of football to watch whatsoever. So it was absolutely important that we turned up against Sheffield Wednesday and we got the job done and we done the business, and there wasn't any sort of panicking about the performance, and that's exactly what happened. It was a very professional, very good Everton performance. This, of course, is a different kettle of fish. We're coming up against the Tottenham Hotspur side, who, like I said, have been quite up and down so far this season, currently sitting 8th in the Premier League. But what Jose Mourinho does best is bring success to football clubs. His trophy cabinet, of course, is full in his managerial career. He's already got Tottenham into a Carabao Cup final, albeit they're playing, Manchester City, who pretty much own the Carabao Cup at this point. I think they've won it the last 2 or 3 seasons, maybe even 4 seasons on the bounce, and it's a chance for them to progress into the next round of the FA Cup, of course, if they do beat Everton on Wednesday. Look, it's a very, very difficult fixture. We are recording this video before Carlo Ancelotti's pre-game press conference. I don't like to record the previews before Carlo's press conference because I like to sit down and see the injury news, etc. But we're going to be recording this one prior to the press conference. So we're going to have a little bit of a guess in terms of injury news and fitness. Obviously, Alan is a potential, whether he'll be fit or not for the game. We'll have to wait for Carlo's press conference tomorrow to find that one out. That I would hazard the guess that even if he is fit, he won't start, with the view of him starting on the weekend against Fulham in what will, likely be an easier game and a less physical game of football. But you never know, he might be fit and Carlo might say, you know what, we'll throw him straight into the deep end and get him some game time. But we'll have to wait and see for that one. But like I said, it's going to be a very, very, very difficult game. And as important as this one is to Tottenham Hotspur fans, because I think they've sort of accepted this season that the football that they're playing isn't as elegant, it's not as beautiful or as great as it maybe once was under Mauricio Pochettino. It's quite defensive. When they're getting results, they're grinding them out, and they've also had some poor results recently. They lost to Chelsea away from home last week in the Premier League. They lost to Brighton at home, which was a big defeat for them against the side who were, fighting at the bottom of the table. Obviously lost to Liverpool the week before that. They have just beaten West Brom over the last couple of days or so, 2-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So that'll be giving them a boost of confidence, as well as the fact that game saw the return of Harry Kane, who of course has been their best player for a number of years now. And in their last FA Cup fixture, they beat Wycombe Wanderers 4-1 quite comfortably. And I've actually been quite impressed with Tottenham Hotspur in the FA Cup. Sometimes in the Premier League, this season, they've looked really poor. They've looked void of confidence. Their mentality has been questioned by a lot of their fans as well. But when it comes to cup games and one-off fixtures, they're usually very, very good. And that's what happens when you bring in somebody like a Jose Mourinho, who over the course of a Premier League season, yes, will probably get you finishing in a decent position, maybe a Champions League spot or at the very least the Europa League spot. He's won league titles before as well, but I think, like I said, there was a decision made by Tottenham Hotspur when they brought Jose Mourinho in, and that wasn't as much as the long-term project with the league. That was more short-term success, and Tottenham are a club that demand short-term success. But much like Tottenham, Everton are a club that demand short-term success as well as long-term, and I think Carlo Ancelotti, a little bit differently to Jose Mourinho, was being brought in at Everton for the long-term and for the longevity, and for this project of him coming in and building his own team and taking us into, Europe and hopefully the Champions League. So I don't think it's as much of a short-term plan, and I think, the football that Everton have played under Carlo Ancelotti so far has been quite expansive. We've seen a lot of different tactics, we've seen a lot of different formations, a lot of different ways of playing, and a lot of different ways of winning as well. Usually under previous managers, Everton have one set way of winning, and if teams, find out about it and maybe do a little bit of research before the game, then they can quite comfortably come to Goodison Park or come up against Everton in their home ground and defend against it, and we very rarely have had a plan B. Under previous managers, under Carlo Ancelotti, it feels like we haven't only got a plan B, but we've got a plan C. We've seen the start of the Premier League season, which of course started with a fantastic win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Really, really monumental win that was for Everton Football Club. Historic win for Everton Football Club, who haven't beaten Tottenham away from home in a long time. I think it might have been over a decade. Haven't beaten a top 6 side since 2013 either, so to turn up on the opening day of the season, and okay, Tottenham weren't in great, they weren't great on the day, but to turn up there and win that game of football as comfortably and convincingly as we did. I know it was only 1-0, but it was an exceptional performance. It saw debuts for Alan, Abdoulaye Doucouré, James Rodriguez. All three were absolutely exceptional on their Everton debuts, and it was a very refreshing performance. But like I said, we've seen from the start of the season where Everton were constantly scoring and flying forward, and James was creating, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin was getting, on average 2 goals a game. Charlison was getting involved. We then had a little bit of a blip in the middle of the season, and we seen Everton turn to maybe a low block of defensively. We had Ben Godfrey playing at left back, Mason Holgate playing at right back due to injuries to Seamus Coleman and Luca Dean, and that 4 centre-back partnership across the back line helped us to put in really, really good defensive performances week in, week out. We saw the Chelsea victory, the win against Leicester City away from home, the win against Arsenal, defending constantly but hitting teams on the counter-attack. And then we've seen a little bit of a mixture of both, which is good defensive work, but also taking our chances going forward and creating going forward. And there was a period until very recently where we were struggling to score goals, but we weren't conceding many, so we were winning games, 1 or 2-0 or maybe 2-1. But obviously the Sheffield Wednesday game in the Cup was a little bit different to that, and to score 3 goals at Old Trafford and concede 3 goals very clearly shows that, well, defensively we have to be better, but going forward we're starting to get into that flow again, which is great to see. But like I said before, Tottenham Hotspur have got a massive boost going into this game. Of course, Harry Kane returned for them in their victory against West Bromwich Albion. Now it's difficult to know whether Harry Kane will play in this game. Of course, like I said, we haven't heard from Jose Mourinho ahead of it yet. Maybe he'll keep him out because he's only just coming back from injury and he played against West Brom. But my expectation is we'll see Harry Kane leading the line for Tottenham this fixture on Wednesday, and that is not something I don't think Everton should particularly fear, as long as we line up properly defensively. But there's no doubt in Harry Kane's ability. There's no doubt in his quality. He's a top Premier League striker. Some would argue he's the best striker in the Premier League. Some people would even argue he's probably he's the best striker in world football. And that partnership that he has with Heung-min Son at Tottenham has been labelled one of the best partnerships in the league so far this season. There was parts at the start of the season when Tottenham were really in full flow. I mean, we talk about Everton's season and it being a little bit of a roller coaster and adapting in which the way we play. But after that defeat, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for Tottenham at the start of the season, they went on quite a fair run. I mean, they were top of the league in December. Now, of course, they've dropped drastically since then, and there's been a lot of questions about Jose Mourinho from the Tottenham Hotspur fan base. However, during that period where they were firing and they were winning constantly and they were scoring goals freely and 3-4-0s here and there, the partnership between Harry Kane and Heung-min Son was in full flow, and you would expect that partnership to be, Son creating for Harry Kane, but it wasn't on a lot of occasions. Heung-min Son was coming out of games with hat-tricks and they'd all been assisted by Harry Kane. Harry Kane was dropping into sort of like a number 10 role, central attacking midfield role to create for Son, who was then running off, and they're a very difficult partnership to defend against, and Everton are going to have to be absolutely on their game on Wednesday to defend against this Tottenham Hotspur forward line. And it's a game at Goodison Park, which usually you'd be sitting there in any other general season would be absolutely made up for this game, under the lights at Goodison, cold night, coming up against a tough Premier League opposition in an FA Cup game. Everyone would be up for it to be 40,000 fans at Goodison Park screaming and shouting their lungs out for the Toffees. But it's a very different season, of course, at the moment with what's going on in the world, so that won't be the case. And given the fact that we haven't been able to have 40,000 Evertonians at Goodison Park at any point this season, and games like this, games like the Manchester United Carabao Cup quarter-final in December at Goodison Park, they're a little bit different. And Carlo Ancelotti's touched on this before and alluded at the fact that sides are winning more away games at the moment than they're winning home games, and Everton aren't the only team with bad home form. I mean, you look at Tottenham's, like I said, okay, they beat West Brom the other day, but that's not a massive challenge, let's be honest with you. Lost to Brighton at home a couple of weeks ago, of course, lost to Liverpool at home, who again, they're struggling at the moment to pick up consistent results. Lost to Chelsea away from home. So Everton aren't the only team who have struggled at home this season, and obviously it has been affected by the fact that there's been no fans. And it's a big week for Everton Football Club. We come up against Tottenham on Wednesday in the FA Cup, we come up against Fulham on Sunday in the Premier League, I believe, and then we play Man City in the Premier League next week as well, all at Goodison Park, leading up to the Merseyside derby, which is our next away game. And we really have to fix our home form at the moment, because our away form is absolutely impeccable. I think we're unbeaten in 7. We went on a run of 4 wins out of 4, which is the first time we've done that since the 80s. We've won 7 away games this season, drawn 2 and only lost 2, but it seems like the home form has been sacrificed for that. Now, I don't know why. You look at some of the home games that we've lost this season. We've lost to Newcastle recently, which was absolutely dreadful performance. Like I said, we were taken into extra time in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. We lost to Leeds United early on in the season, who again, we made them look like Barcelona. We lost to West Ham on New Year's Day, who aren't the worst team in the world, but it was a game that we expected to win. And like I said, I don't know whether we just become a little bit complacent at Goodison Park this season, and we may be a little bit more switched on when we're away from home, and the foot's on the pedal a little bit more. But whatever the reason is, it's no excuse, and we really need to fix our home form. We can't be coming into games at Goodison Park thinking, I wish this one was away from home. I mean, like I said, the performance against Tottenham Hotspur on the opening game of the season at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was incredible, and it was the type of away performance that we're not used to seeing. Okay, we'd seen it a couple of times under Carlo Ancelotti last season, but we're not used to seeing Everton put in that type of performance away from home. Usually we struggle, certainly against sides like Tottenham and sides that are in and around the top 6 or whatever you want to call it. So the home form is now, the thing that we need to fix, the thing that we need to focus on, the thing that we need to really start getting a grip of, because, ultimately in any other season, and with 40,000 Evertonians at Goodison, you'd expect us to go out there and put in a performance and get a result on Wednesday. But obviously, like I said, it's going to be difficult. Tottenham looking at bringing the likes of Harry Kane back into the team. Like I said, he did feature against West Brom at the weekend, so whether or not he'll start, I don't know. I'd probably say he will, because it's a massive game for Tottenham. Likes of Son, who has been absolutely incredible as well. Everton will be without Josh King, I believe. I think he is ineligible, because I think he played in an FA Cup fixture for Bournemouth earlier on in the season. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is the case, which of course means he is cup tied. But other than that, up to now, like I said, this video is being recorded before Carlo Ancelotti's pre-game press conference, but up to now, that is the only news that we know. We don't know whether Jordan Pickford will be back. I'd assume he will be back, because Carlo did say that it wasn't a massive injury and he'd only be out for the Leeds game, and then said that he'll be out for the United game, but he should be back next week. Alan, again, we don't know whether or not he'll be back. If he is back, I'd probably assume he'll start on the bench, because it's a very difficult game, and we've got a Premier League game against Fulham at the weekend, which I think is more likely to see Alan start. So listen, it's going to be difficult. It really is. And like I said before, Tottenham Hotspur are a club that have brought in a manager who, again, is notorious for his cup success. during his career, and that's no disrespect to Jose Mourinho. Obviously, he's won league titles before. He's won league titles in England with Chelsea, but like I said, his success at Manchester United was through winning cup competitions, and I think that was the sacrifice, if you like, that Tottenham Hotspur made when they brought in a manager of one of their biggest, an ex-manager of one of their biggest rivals, was that he'd come in and he'd bring success. And I think that's what's holding a lot of Tottenham Hotspur fans on. Don't get me wrong, I don't know any Tottenham Hotspur fans. I don't talk to them. If you're watching and you're in the comments, let me know. But I think that's what's holding a lot of Tottenham Hotspur fans on to the Jose Mourinho train at the moment, is even though some of their performances in the Premier League haven't been good, their mentalities come into question. I know, some Tottenham Hotspur fans aren't happy with the football that they're playing. The fact that they're in a Carabao Cup final, like I said, albeit against the owners of the Carabao Cup, it's still a final, and on any day anybody can win. And they're in the 5th round of the FA Cup. If you'd have said to a Tottenham Hotspur fan at the start of the season, when Jose Mourinho was appointed, look, would you take sacrificing a top 4 finish in the league, or even a top 6 finish in the league, to come away from a season with an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup? I think they'd say, yeah, that's why we've brought Jose Mourinho in to win us those cup competitions and for the short-term success. But like I said, it's not just about Tottenham. Everton are a side that is so desperate for success. Ian Kroll put a tweet out yesterday and asked, would you rather finish in the top 4 or win an FA Cup? And I said FA Cup all day long. I said I'd rather win an FA Cup than finish second, to be honest. If you're going to say we'll win the league, then obviously I'd rather win the league. But Everton are a football club who haven't won a major honour since 1985. I wasn't born the last time. 1995. I wasn't born the last time Everton won a major trophy. I'm 22 years old. I've been doing this channel for 2 years now. I've been to Wembley on a number of occasions. I've seen us nearly win trophies. I've seen us being dumped out of cup competitions for stupid offsides or the ball going over the line, but I've never seen us win a cup competition. So I'm not really interested in what Tottenham Hotspur's views on this game are, or their reasoning for bringing Jose Mourinho in. I'm interested in Carlo Ancelotti taking Everton to the next level. Now, some might say, well, finishing us in the top 4 this season is clear progress, and long term wise that's better than winning an FA Cup and finishing 6th, 7th, 8th, something like that. But we are a club who are in desperate need of silverware. These are a group of players who need to know what it's like to win. And I know there's players in there like James Rodriguez, who's won a whole load of trophies in his career and has come to Everton with that mentality, similar with, the likes of Alan, of course. But there's a large part of this squad, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Alex Iwobi's won a couple of FA Cups with Arsenal, but there's a large part of this squad that need to feel what it's like to be successful. And the hope is that if Carlo Ancelotti can bring that success to Everton, aka an FA Cup, maybe even a Carabao Cup next year, then the likes of Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Luca Dean will look at Everton and think, you know what, in terms of league position, we're progressing, and we're also showing that we can put in the performances in the cup games as well. And ultimately, as fans, Ian replied to me yesterday when I said I'd rather win an FA Cup, and he said even with no fans in the stadium, and I sat back and I said, well, yeah, it'd be horrible, of course it would be. I've been alive 22 years, I've been an Evertonian all my life, and if the one year we get to an FA Cup final and we manage to win it under Carlo Ancelotti, we can't go to Wembley to watch us win it because of what's going on, it'll be absolutely gutting. But best believe, in the same way as that I jumped up off my couch and nearly put my foot through the telly 2 days ago when we drew with Manchester United, when we scored that last minute equaliser, I'll be the exact same if we win the FA Cup. Yes, it'll be absolutely heartbreaking that we can't be there to watch it live and experience it, in the flesh and basically have all of that emotion there, and it will be very, very horrible because you'd like to be there, and on any other normal season you would be, but I'd still take a trophy. The fact that and who knows where we'll be come May, July, June, when the when the FA Cup final will take place. Who knows where we'll be in terms of, the restrictions and stuff. But even if you were to say to me now, Cam, you win an FA Cup, but not one Evertonian sits in Wembley and observes it live, you've got to watch it on the television because of restrictions, because of what's going on in the world, or you don't win an FA Cup and you finish 4th, I'd take the FA Cup all day still. As heartbreaking as it'd be to not be there, the emotion of winning a trophy and seeing Everton win a major honour will override that heartbreak of not being there. Yes, a couple of days later you'd sit back and go, God, it was crap to not be there. How great would it have been to be standing at Wembley? But ultimately, the initial feeling when that final whistle goes will be we've won a trophy. Carlo Ancelotti has brought us that success in his first full season. So it's as important for Everton this game as it is for Tottenham Hotspur. I'm an Everton fan, so I don't really care Tottenham's reasons for bringing Jose Mourinho in. I don't care if they have long-term, short-term success. I'm not really bothered. Everton, I've said it again and I'll say it. I've said it once and I'll say it again. In fact, I've said it a million times and I'll say it again. Every time we do a preview or a review or a reaction to cup competitions, I always say the same thing and I will keep saying it until we win a trophy. We are not a club in a position to throw cup competitions away. We're not a club in a position to go, you know what? Let's just see this one out. We don't need to win this competition. That was why it was so heartbreaking when we lost to Manchester United at Goodison Park in the Carabao Cup quarter-final, and that's why if we lose this game, it'll be very, very heartbreaking as well, because we aren't a club who can just throw domestic competitions away. We need to be fighting for every single trophy we can get, and it's difficult because, at the moment our league form has been very, very good. I think Everton have overachieved this season. Have we been excellent throughout the entire season? No, we haven't. We need to add a bit more consistency to our results, and to our performances especially. But we've had a very, very, very good season, and we've got some difficult, Premier League games coming up. We've got Fulham at the weekend, who have been playing some decent football at the moment and are trying to find their way out of a relegation fight. We then have a unbelievably difficult week next week. We play Manchester City and Liverpool within the space of 3 days, both in the league. And, again, like I said, I'm not looking at where we'll be at the end of the season in terms of league position yet. I'm not even entertaining a fight for the top four or for the title, because as good as it might be to say now, if we lose to Fulham on Saturday, we'll all be saying we're nowhere near a top four fight. But the reality of the situation is we beat Fulham, which should be the expectation. We beat Fulham and maybe get a decent result against City, and then who knows, go to Anfield and beat Liverpool. It's not just a case of they're 3 really good results. I think we go above Liverpool in that case, and we'll be right in the mix for the top four come what'll be middle of February, which is then we really have to start looking at league form and where we could potentially finish and believing in where we could finish. But the focus is on Wednesday, and we shouldn't skip past Wednesday. We absolutely shouldn't skip past Wednesday. We shouldn't be sitting here thinking, Wednesday is what it is. We'll deal with that when whatever happens. Let's go and focus on the Premier League, because ultimately we could get knocked out on Wednesday and then go, right, just focus on the league now, and we could finish 9th in the league this season. We could go on a bad run of form towards the back end of the season. We might pick up a couple of injuries, go on a bad run of form and finish 8th or 9th, and then we're sitting there going, we didn't really get anything out of this season. We lost in the FA Cup to Spurs, and then we went on a bad run of form, so we'll finish. Yes, okay, if we sit there and we're finishing 4th at the end of the season, then it's not as big as a conversation. But for me, you don't win a trophy for finishing 4th. You might get in the Champions League, which is clear progression, but you don't win a trophy, and Everton absolutely need a trophy. So it's a massive game for Carlo Ancelotti. It's a massive game for Everton. Carlo hasn't been shy in stating that he'll start with strong teams in cup competitions. He said it in the earlier rounds. Even when we've played lower league opposition, he spoke about starting strong sides. He started a really strong side against Sheffield Wednesday in the previous round, and okay, we give a lot of respect to Sheffield Wednesday, but we turned up on that day, and I expect the strong side to start on Wednesday against Spurs as well. So let's go into my predicted starting 11 as well. If you're enjoying the video, by the way, please don't forget to hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. In goal then, I'm going for Jordan Pickford. Again, like I said, we don't know whether Jordan will be fit yet. This is being recorded before Carlo Ancelotti's pre-game press conference, but my assumption is Jordan will be back, just because he didn't say it was a big injury. And this isn't because Robin Olsen has, made a mistake or two against Manchester United. It's not because I think he needs to be dropped. It's just when Carlo Ancelotti spoke about Jordan Pickford prior to the game against Manchester United, he very literally said, look, Jordan's not available for this game, but when he is available, he'll be going back in. He said Robin Olsen will still play some games, but Jordan will be going back in when he's available. Now, Robin Olsen might well start this game, because obviously he's usually played in the cup games, and obviously he's played in the last couple of games, and Jordan mightn't be back to match fitness, even though I don't know if you even have to be match fit to be a goalkeeper. So Robin Olsen may well start this game, but I just have a feeling that if Jordan's fit, Carlo Ancelotti will throw him back in, and he basically said that, didn't he? He said when Jordan gets back to fitness, he'll be back to playing. He said Robin Olsen will play as well, but Jordan will be playing. So I've gone with Jordan Pickford in goal. Some people mightn't like that. I know in terms of height and like I said, coming up against a team that are good in the air, you might look at Robin Olsen, but then you could equally look at the goals we conceded against Manchester United and say, should he have done better? But it's a flip of the coin for me. Look, we might be sitting here tomorrow. You might be watching this at this time tomorrow and this be void because Carlo might come out and say Jordan's still not fit. And then it would be Robin Olsen, of course. So a lot of people have put Robin Olsen in there. I'd probably have Robin Olsen in there, to be fair. I'd probably be a little bit more confident with Robin Olsen in there even after the United game. But I just think if Jordan Pickford's fit, he'll go with Jordan Pickford. Backline then, I've gone for Luca Dean at left back. Again, decent performance against Manchester United, of course. Took that free kick, which saw us get the equaliser in the last seconds of the game. Really, really good ball in, which was flicked on by Michael Keane and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Got the touch on it, the vital touch on it to take it past David De Gea. Been decent recently. Wasn't massively impressed with him against Newcastle. I think he struggled, but ultimately, look, again, we bounced back with a really, really good performance and result against Leeds. And, Luca Dean played well in that game. Again, got a fantastic assist within the first 10 minutes of the game, and I thought he was decent on the weekend as well against Manchester United. I think this is a game that Luca Dean could really, really benefit from, getting down that left-hand side, throwing balls into the box, and hopefully Dominic Calvert-Lewin is as lethal in the air as he was on the opening game of the season against Tottenham. Centre-backs then, I've gone for Michael Keane and Yerry Mina. Absolutely pivotal that Yerry Mina starts this game of football for me. If there's anything that was so noticeable in the game against Manchester United, it was the fact that we just lacked an aerial presence, and every ball that went in the air was won by Manchester United. 2 of their goals come from headers, and 2 goals that, for me, I look at and think if Yerry Mina's on the pitch, we don't concede. Obviously, he was rested for the Manchester United game after playing a tough 90-odd minutes against Leeds the game before. And again, I think the reason he was rested is because he'll play on Wednesday. Whether that'll be for Michael Keane and Carlo will continue with Ben Godfrey at centre-back next to be it Keane or Mina, I'm not too sure. But I just think Yerry Mina absolutely has to be in this Everton side. He's had a rest now. He's been one of our best players this season. Some may even argue our best player. Certainly some would argue our best centre-back. He's been so solid. He was excellent against Leeds United, won everything in the air, dealt with everything in the air, and he absolutely has to be in this Everton team on Wednesday. I've gone with Michael Keane next to him. I want to see Michael Keane and Yerry Mina reignite that partnership at centre-back, because I think it's easy for us to look at the Leeds game and talk about how fantastic Ben Godfrey is, and Ben Godfrey is in this Everton team, by the way. I'll talk about that in a second. It's very, very easy to look at the recent performances and okay, you could criticise Michael Keane for the United game. He wasn't excellent, and you could say maybe it should be Mina and Godfrey because they were very, very good against Leeds. But for me, we shouldn't look past how solid Michael Keane and Yerry Mina have been in recent weeks. It's absolutely mad because we've seen so many different centre-back partnerships. We've seen so many different players and so much rotation. And Carlo Ancelotti has been open in admitting that, is that you sort of forget how good Michael Keane and Yerry Mina have been this season as a partnership. I mean, Michael Keane come in on Saturday and Yerry Mina was on the bench, and a lot of people thought he'd been dropped. He wasn't. He was rested in the same way as that Michael Keane was rested against Leeds the week before. But the pair of them have been exceptional, and I think the pair of them were really starting to sort of figure out that centre-back partnership. And it is difficult for Carlo because obviously when Luca Dean was injured, you put Ben Godfrey at left back and you'd be able to use Yerry Mina and Michael Keane as a centre-back partnership. Now that, Luca Dean's back in the team and he has to play because he's so good going forward and he's such a great left back, it's difficult, the headache that Carlo Ancelotti's got, because now he's got 4 centre-backs in Godfrey, Holgate, Mina and Keane, who have all been very, very good this season, certainly Mina, Keane and Godfrey. So it is a headache for Carlo, but I think if we revert back to that centre-back partnership of Michael Keane and Yerry Mina, they both understand each other, they both play to each other's strengths as well as help out with each other's weaknesses, and I think they'd be an excellent partnership for this game. Michael Keane on the floor deals with everything that would come in, and Yerry Mina to be able to deal early with the likes of Harry Kane. If Harry Kane does start this game, you need a massive aerial presence, and I think Yerry Mina is that. And then right back, I've gone for Ben Godfrey. I think Mason struggled, to be honest with you, against Manchester United on the weekend. There was a couple of times where he got sort of torn inside out, and he didn't have his greatest game, to be honest. He done okay at times, but generally he didn't have his greatest game of football. The easy option then is to say, right, well, Seamus Coleman comes back in. He's the experienced defender. He's the player who, ultimately should be should be fitting in at right back if Mason isn't doing the job. But again, I just haven't been full of confidence with Seamus Coleman, to be honest, at times this season. I think what you used to get with Seamus was that just sort of unlimited amount of energy and stamina up and down that right hand side, throwing balls into the box and defending well, whereas you don't really get that anymore. And I think defensively, like I said, from now until the end of the season, if fit, Ben Godfrey has to start every single game for Everton, be it right back, left back, centre back. I don't want to be seen as shoehorning him in, and I don't think Carlo wants to be seen as shoehorning him in. And that's where I maybe think Carlo might go with Mina and Godfrey at centre back and leave Kane out again. But Ben Godfrey has to start. He's so good. He's so demanding on the ball. He's got leadership qualities. He's physical. Like I said, he comes out with the ball. He's got absolutely unbelievable pace, unbelievable acceleration. He shields players out. He's just, for me, an all-round quality defender, and it's going to be needed in a game where we're coming up against a very, very good, side with attacking options. Yes, they haven't been playing unbelievable football recently, but like I said, they've been without Harry Kane, who is arguably the best centre forward in the league. So that's my back line. I've gone for Pickford in goal, just because I think Carlo will, Luca Dean left back, Yerry Mina and Michael Keane at centre back, and Ben Godfrey at right back. Into the midfield then, I am going to punt that I don't think Alan will be available to start this game. Listen, he might be fit, and Carlo might say he's fit and he can start, but I don't think he will start. I don't think he'll throw him in, straight away, only a couple of days. I think we're more likely to see Alan start against Fulham in the Premier League at the weekend. So having said that, I'm going for Abdoulaye Doucouré, James Rodriguez and Tom Davies. James, of course, playing in that number 10 role behind the striker. Thought Tom was exceptional against Manchester United, absolutely exceptional. Every pass that he had to make, he did well. He picked the ball up in some great areas. He won the ball back when he needed to. He come forward fantastically, and he also played an absolute peach of a ball to Dominic Calvert-Lewin for Abdoulaye Doucouré's goal. It was absolutely exceptional. And look, Tom Davies gets a lot of stick. He does get a lot of stick from Evertonians, but and I think we all know, look, when everybody's fit and Alan's back and Alan's fit, Alan will be playing in that position ahead of Tom Davies. But I think you'd be quite harsh as to not admit that Tom Davies has done a very, very good job when fitting into the Alan role. And ultimately, Carlo Ancelotti really likes Tom Davies, and Carlo Ancelotti really likes the job that Tom Davies is doing there. So I've gone for Tom Davies. Abdoulaye Doucouré, of course, exceptional in that second half against Manchester United. Absolutely brilliant against Leeds as well. Hopefully, with Tom Davies being in it, it's a difficult one because you've got Andre Gomez, who was exceptional as well against Leeds and has been in great form recently and has started to look like the Andre Gomez that we know and love, and he was brilliant against Manchester United as well. You've got Gylfi, who's done an okay job, but I just feel like let's be honest, Abdoulaye Doucouré has to play, and depending on where James plays, whether he starts on the right or he starts in the middle, you've either got an option for another two midfielders or another one midfielder. I've gone with James playing in the middle of the park because I've gone with somebody else playing up top on the right hand side. So that means there's room for one other central midfielder. Now, you could make a case for Gomez, you could make a case for Davies, you could make a case for Sigurdsson. Again, I think with Tom Davies playing more so than Andre Gomez, it allows Abdoulaye Doucouré to play in more of a box-to-box sort of role. It allows Abdoulaye Doucouré to get forward, create going forward, be that player that's playing passes into James, playing passes into Dom, playing passes into Richarlison, and I think that's where we haven't seen an awful lot of Abdoulaye Doucouré this season for Everton, but when he has played there, he's been absolutely exceptional. We saw it in the second half against Manchester United, we saw it in the first half against Leeds, when he is making those darting runs through the middle of the park, and when he is, caught himself on the edge of the box and he can pass the ball out. We've seen the James Rodriguez's goal the other day. Doucouré plays a brilliant ball into him and sets it up for James, and obviously Doucouré was there on the end of David De Gea's push out to score the first for Everton against Man United. So for me, I think Tom Davies being in the team more so than Gomez allows Abdoulaye Doucouré to play in that more of an attacking sense. I think when Gomez is in, he maybe adopts more of an attacking sense, and Doucouré plays the defensive role, and I just prefer Doucouré playing as a more of a box-to-box and utilising his qualities going forward, and I think Tom does a more than good enough job as that defensive sort of sweeper in front of the back line. And then I've gone with James Rodriguez, obviously come off against Manchester United, and Carlo said after the game that he felt a little bit of a pull in, or a little bit of some discomfort in his calf, I believe it was, Whether he'll be fit or not, we don't know. We'll have to wait for Carlo Ancelotti's press conference. It wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't, just because, again, you know, he has had injury troubles this season, but Carlo did say after the game we brought him off, you know, to make sure that no injury occurred. So hopefully that was, you know, that was caught before anything happened, and you know, he scored his goal and then he'd come off ready to rest up for Wednesday. So hopefully James Rodriguez can be in there. We've seen the quality of him so far this season. Another goal for him against Manchester United, an absolutely exquisite finish. We spoke about him in length on the game review to the Manchester United game. We spoke about the goal. It was exceptional. He brings it down. The touch is brilliant, and he hits it on the volley, which is fantastic. And I think that him being in there will offer us a lot going forward, a lot creatively, of course. And then I've gone for a front three of Charlison on the left-hand side, Dominic Calvert-Lewin through the middle, and Alex Iwobi on the right. Like I said before, I don't believe Josh King is eligible for this game. I think he's cup-tied due to playing in the FA Cup for Bournemouth during the season. So, again, he won't be available. It'd been a good chance for Josh King to get a start. My assumption would be that Carlo Ancelotti, depending on how well we play on Wednesday, may look at the game against Fulham and think, right, we can afford to maybe leave Dom on the bench, or maybe leave Richarlison on the bench and bring them on, you know, towards the back end of the game and give Josh King his first start for Everton Football Club, or maybe even do that with Alex Iwobi or James, depending on who plays on that right-hand side. But I've gone with Alex Iwobi. I think his injection of energy and pace will be needed in this game to get us forward and to run at the Tottenham Hotspur back line. Again, they're very susceptible to defensive mistakes. They're very susceptible to conceding silly goals. So I think if you've got somebody like Alex Iwobi who does pick the ball up and does run with pace and does run with energy, then I think that will be beneficial to Everton. And then, of course, Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Fantastic goal to get the point against Manchester United. Again, a proper striker's, poacher's finish. Needs to do better when he's in one-on-one in front of a keeper, to be fair. But again, ultimately, you can't really complain, can you? He's got the goal. That's giving us a point against Manchester United at Old Trafford, which is a fantastic point. And then Richarlison, who I actually think went a little bit under the radar on Saturday. The amount of starting runs he made in that first half were absolutely exceptional. And I think, to be fair to Richarlison, if the midfield were a little bit more on the game, he'd have been found and he could have done something with it. It's been a year to the day since Richarlison scored that excellent goal against Crystal Palace at Goodison Park. And, you know, to be perfectly honest with you, I think we're only games away from seeing Richarlison reignite that form and reignite that quality, and you know, to be fair, I think, okay, he hasn't been in great form recently, he hasn't been in great goal scoring form specifically recently, but I think it's just a case of confidence for Richarlison, and you know, like I said, we've seen what he's capable of. I think he worked really, really hard against Manchester United, certainly in that first half. Some of the runs that he made and he wasn't found was frustrating, certainly from a fan's point of view, when you're watching him make those runs and he's not being found. And again, he had a chance in the second half, which he probably should have done better with. But I expect Richarlison to start this game, and hopefully this is the game where he gets back on the score sheet and he builds his confidence back up again. So there you go. That is my predicted starting 11. Look, this is going to be a difficult game. This, like I said, we're coming up against a side who have a manager who is notorious in winning domestic competitions, notorious in you know, winning trophies, and that's why he's been brought into Tottenham. But let's be honest, is there any manager that's better at winning trophies than Carlo Ancelotti? He's won pretty much everything there is to win. He's won the FA Cup before, he's won the Premier League, he's won the 4 out of the top 5 leagues in Europe. He's won everything, this man. And he, for me, he's a better manager than Jose Mourinho, and hopefully he can prove that on Wednesday. And like I said, you can talk all you like about a trophy being important to Tottenham, but a trophy is absolutely essential to Everton Football Club. For a club of our size, for a club of our, you know, history and quality, and you know, obviously with Carlo in now and James Rodriguez and all of these excellent players and the excellent season that we've had so far in the Premier League, we need to be winning cup competitions, we need to be winning trophies, and for me, this is a big test. It certainly is a big test, but it's definitely a test we can come back from, and hopefully we can get the win and we can sort of put that bad home form record behind us, and we can start to you know, we can start to win games at Goodison Park as well, and it all starts on Wednesday. So there you go. That is the game preview. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments section down below. If you have enjoyed this video, please do hit that like button. Like I said, we'll find out from Carlo Ancelotti's pre-game press conference tomorrow who is injured, who is available to play, whether Jordan Pickford's back, whether Alan's back, whether James Rodriguez is ready to play after the game on Saturday. So that'll be a really, really interesting one. We'll be covering that over on our Twitter, so don't forget to follow us at MightyBluesYT if you do not already. A massive thank you to everybody for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please do hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. We will be back on Wednesday with the instant match reaction and the player ratings, of course, after the game against Tottenham. Let's hope it's as let's hope it's as happy as it was on Saturday, and let's hope that this time it's a win and we get into the next round of the FA Cup. It'll be difficult, of course. It'll be a challenge, but definitely one that we can overcome, exactly like we did on the opening day of the season. Massive thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please do leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.